Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. Welcome to my new series within GT7 as well, a series which is going to be a bunch of PSVR2 showcases where I take my favourite cars in VR and show them off to you guys. So how this series will work will be essentially grabbing a car, getting it in the VR showroom, taking it out on track and showing you some live proper gameplay of that car, and then showing you a bit of the car in VR replay as well, to basically just kind of show off the entire car in every single way that I can within PSVR2, because some of these models are absolutely incredible within the game. And we're going to start off strong with the Honda RA272, which came with update 1.29 and is one of my personal favourite cars, so let's go to it. So as you can see, I decided to pretty much terrify myself and take this car out in the rain at Spa over a quick 2-lap 1-mate race, and it was honestly one of the best racing experiences I think I've ever had overall. Really, there's no kind of way to put it, but just the sense of speed and just smashing up Spa in the wet in a classic Formula 1 car is just absolutely incredible. If I had to say there was actually a single downside to this car, is I just don't think it's quite snappy enough. You know, it's a very, very good car to drive, but it's almost too good to drive. You kind of expect it to want to completely throw you into the barrier, and whilst it does give you slight hints of that at time, in all honesty, it doesn't do it quite enough. I just wish it was a bit more of an edgy drive. But overall, it is a fantastic car, and I think that's kind of, you know, commonplace and really kind of known around the community that the Honda RA272 is just absolutely fantastic, whichever way you look at it. Honestly, in VR though, this thing is a completely different monster. It's genuinely a terrifying experience from a visual standpoint, especially in the wet. You've kind of got the rain slamming at you, and that is the biggest shame I have to say for kind of flat screens compared to VR, is it just doesn't give you that sense of adrenaline. But trust me, during this whole race, I had adrenaline pumping through me. It was just completely chaotic and just bizarre. You'll see me kind of, you know, moving and checking those mirrors, and that's just something you don't really get without kind of, you know, experience VR for yourself. If you do have PSVR2 and you have experienced GT7 in that way, then you will know exactly what I'm talking about, especially when you're in a car like this in the wet. It's just absolutely something to behold. So obviously PSVR2 really does enhance certain features within the car, obviously mainly the cockpit. So one thing that I really do love about the Honda RA272 is the cockpit, you know, or well, lack of. Obviously it's only a kind of just a few dials and an old little kind of windshield, and that's your lot, but it really does remind me of a classic World War II kind of fighter plane. That's the kind of feeling I get when I'm inside here in PSVR2. If you've ever played kind of a flight sim game and, or, you know, kind of ever tried out those old World War II fighters within them, you will know exactly what I mean. Just the way the dials are set out, the way they kind of move about, all analog and such, it's just absolutely incredible, and it does genuinely feel like you're kind of trapped inside an old Japanese fighter. It's just beautiful beyond belief, and it really does give credit to PSVR2 for kind of making you feel like you are entrapped within this kind of, you know, on the road or on the circuit fighter plane kind of vibe. That's kind of what you get from this Honda, and it's brilliant for it. Another thing I really like about this car, especially within VR, is that the sense of speed is there, because it's so open and kind of so old school and enclosed and kind of trapped in. It really does give you an incredible sense of speed. I mean, not all cars are this way within PSVR 2, don't get me wrong. The sense of speed is definitely there for the majority of the cars, but you will find some of the more modern cars that are quite kind of open and bulky really don't lend themselves to the sense of speed, where this thing, you're essentially sat on the floor with an engine strapped behind the back of your head, and it's just absolutely immense. The sense of speed is just really, really good. I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, within the game, this car is far from one of the fastest cars in the game. I mean, yes, it's a classic Formula 1 car, but it's from 1965, so it doesn't obviously have the specs of the more kind of up-to-date machines, or something as ridiculous as the Red Bull 2019 or 2014, whichever one you really want to go and take your pick from. So it's not that kind of fast, but it is still a very, very quick car, and because of the design of it, it really does lend itself to the sense of speed. And sadly, that is something that you're not really going to get from this video. You really do have to experience it for yourself, and it does almost kind of make you this kind of whole kind of paranoid mess within the car. You know, you'll probably notice that I'm constantly looking from side to side. I'm trying to make sure I'm not going to collide with the other cars, especially when they're racing up alongside you. It's just absolutely incredible with the sense of speed, the bad weather. Honestly, this car in VR, if you ever do get a chance to test it, or you have VR yourself and you haven't already, jump in this Honda and give it an absolute thrashing about in the wet. It is an experience like you have never had before, and may even give you a brand new appreciation, not just for kind of VR racing, but for Gran Turismo 7. So with the experience and the pure gameplay footage basically, you know, showing off to you, let's go and look at the VR replay mode. Now, if you've never really seen this, I know a lot of people don't really touch on this mode, and it's probably my favourite thing out of the VR. It's just really, really cool. What it essentially does is puts you in a spectator mode at the side of the track, or kind of more on the track, which is a bit weird, but it kind of makes sense. And basically you can just look around at your own replays from different angles, and some of the positions it puts you in is absolutely crazy. So I've picked some of my favourite from this race. Let's go ahead and have a look now. So welcome to VR Replay, a mode that I feel does not get enough credit or showcase really. In all honesty, on the run up to PSVR2 it was barely spoken about, and then when it kind of dropped, a lot of people were very pleasantly surprised with this little kind of extra mode to VR, and I honestly absolutely love it. You're going to see some of the craziest angles from this race. As you can see, you can really kind of look at the detail in the cars as they fly past you, and again, you know, there is some of these angles where the car will basically drive through you, which is absolutely terrifying when you see a car doing 150 miles an hour basically coming head on at you. One thing VR Replay really does do a very good job of is essentially show you the on-track action at its best, because you are so close up to the cars and they're flying past you. It just honestly feels incredible watching cars just duke it out and battle it out. I've even gone back and done a VR replay on some of my online races as well, which is just unbelievable. In all honesty, it's such a cool little mode. So if you are thinking about getting PSVR 2, this is something you should definitely look into. I could spend hours just watching back my replays, and I believe it does work for your older replays as well. As long as you've got the VR headset on, the option will be there to try it out. And as you can see, this is one of the faster angles. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And here's some more of the on-track action where you can really just look at it and just watch it unfold on track. Sadly, the only kind of downside is it kind of just tracks your car, but it does hang around for quite a while, if that makes sense. So there we have it. That is my first episode of my PSVR2 showcase videos using the Honda RA272, and it's not going to be the only time you see this car on the channel today. I'm actually going to be uploading, finally, now I'm a little bit better, my full review on this car. That's kind of been hanging around for a while. The only downside is I actually had to redo the whole footage, because when I went to check my hard drive for the footage, everything was completely corrupted. So I've had to quickly go back and redo my laps and such, but I will have that video up later on for my full opinions on this car. Thank you so much for watching, and a big shout out to my channel members. You are honestly absolutely awesome. Big shout out to Poggers and the Controller people for continuously sponsoring this channel. Check them out in the description down below, as well as my Discord, my Twitter, and my donation link. If you really do want to kindly donate, it'll all go back into the channel. That's going to be it from me today for this video, should I say. I will be returning later. I am back uploading daily. Have a great day, guys. Peace.